Talk a lot more about this as we go forward. But first, we talk about the game of the night. And this was a big one, Nets versus Grizzlies. There's Kyrie, averaging 37.8 points in his last 4 games. It was also his 30th birthday, but no Ja in this one. But Kyrie, man, he was on one. We talk about the third quarter, that drive and the layup, and then Nets down 7. KD hitting it right there. Actually, they're down 10. Look at that. That's Kyrie hitting the beautiful jumper right there. And then KD with the jumper. Everyone rolling in the third. KD and Kyrie combining for 25 in the third quarter alone. But to the fourth, these Grizz coming back. Desmond Bane finding Brandon Clark for the dunk. And then later in the fourth, the Grizzlies rolling. Bane from three-point range. Morant loving it. Grizzlies starting to pull away. Look at him. Then Bane, three-pointer, good. Desmond Bane finished with 23 points, and the Grizzlies win it 132-120. Now, there was some huge news for Brooklyn just yesterday. The Nets' next game is Saturday in Miami, and their next home game is Sunday against the Hornets, and Kyrie Irving will be eligible to play in that game. New York Mayor Eric Adams will lift the city's COVID-19 vaccine mandate on athletes today, and Irving was asked about it after last night's game.
Do not ask me any questions about hypotheticals, about what's going to happen. Please do not. Until anything gets official, please do not ask me any questions about that, y'all. Just jumping in the lineup, jumping out, looking forward. Hopefully that could be something we could fix and move past.
Okay, so demurring a little bit there, but this is big news for the NBA. Brian Windhorst, Vince Carter joining us now. Windy, what does this mean for the Nets and Kyrie now that this vaccine mandate has been lifted?
This means that the Nets have gone from a potential spoiler to a potential contender. Having Kyrie Irving in the lineup this year makes as big of a difference for the Nets as you can imagine. They go from being the number 26 team in net rating, which is what they do per 100 possessions against the opponent. They go from 26 at home to number 3 when they're on the road. Now, some of that is because Durant missed some games. That's an inflated difference. But they're one of the best teams in the league when they're on the road with Kyrie. They go from the number 26 offense at home this year to the number 1 offense on the road because of the difference that Kyrie Irving makes. This is a complete game changer to the Eastern Conference playoffs. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think they are the favorite. I know that they have been the betting favorite for months, and this is what Vegas thought was going to happen. They still have one of the bottom 6 or 7 defenses in the league. Yes. They are only 8-12 when Kyrie plays this year, so that is an indication they still have some things to overcome.
Okay, so Vince, I hear you agreeing. Wendy says they're not the favorites. What do you think this makes the Nets now in the East?
I mean, they make them a good team, but the huge question is defensively, where will they be? How will they stack up? Because we saw last night they got gutted defensively. They were just giving up easy baskets, not just the tough baskets you live with, but just the easy baskets. Just defensive rotational mistakes are huge, and that's just from guys in and out of the lineup, understanding who's on the floor and where they should be. Offensively, I think they'll be okay. But another concern is staying healthy, having their key guys. I think Seth Curry is a huge miss, right now for them, because when you have Seth Curry on the floor, it opens the floor up for Durant as well as Kyrie to play one-on-one and beat their guys off the floor. And now the help is a little late now because of Seth's ability to shoot. Also, Seth can handle the ball. We saw him when Kyrie, particularly at home, when Kyrie isn't there, Seth was handling the ball a little bit, running the offense. So here's a guy who can shoot the ball but run the offense as well for them, which is going to open things up. So I just think getting healthy and defending are huge right now for the Nets to move on and make a lot of noise.
Okay, so speaking of them moving on and maybe even trying to move up, Brooklyn is the 8th seed right now. They could face 7th seed Toronto with no Kyrie in the play-in game because of Canada's vaccine restrictions. So, Vince, how important is it for the Nets to move up from the 8th seed?
I mean, it's important. They can say whatever they want about, we just want to play and do what they have to do. Having Kyrie in the lineup, giving you your best possible chance is what you want. They have the chance. I think they can do it. They can win games, but defensively they're going to have to defend, because now you talk about going on the road or playing the Raptors without Kyrie after you have the ability to have them. Otherwise, is a huge loss. So I look for them to kind of You can look for KD and Kyrie to step it up, and we'll probably see more 30 and 40-point games from the both of them.
Okay, so that should be interesting. Wendy, what do you think? How important is it for them to move up?
Yeah, remember, they only have to win one of two play-in games to make the postseason. If they lose the 7-8 game, they can still win the second game. So I think they're getting in. And I think if you're a team like Miami, who's holding the 1 seed, or you're Milwaukee, who's holding the 2, you're going, wait a minute. We just played the whole season to get a top seed, and we may draw Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant for 7 all games in the first round. It's a terrible, terrible turn of events for the top seeds in the East. You're not going to want to be in those seeds, and it means that to win the Eastern Conference, there is no soft spot. You are going to have to run a gauntlet. It is going to be the hardest East in maybe a generation or two.
Okay, we'll see how this all plays out. Wendy, Vince, thank you so much. Well, coming up, now that Tyreek Hill is gone, is Patrick Mahomes' dominance over the AFC West over? Will another team win the division? And what does the blockbuster trade mean for Tua? Is it playoffs or bust for the Dolphins quarterback? A lot to talk about on this blockbuster trade.
Connor Williams, 2 backs, and Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert, they gave Tua everything. But when you look at the AFC, outside of Davis Mills and Mitch Trubisky, I'm not so sure what other quarterback Tua would be in front of. I mean, this AFC is absolutely loaded from Herbert all the way through Burrow, Mahomes, Josh Allen. I mean, we could rank them all day long, but the bottom line is Tua's missed 10 games as an NFL quarterback. His play has been average at best. He has trouble seeing the middle of the field and can't get the ball down the field consistently. So with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, he has no excuses. And I think of all the quarterbacks heading into the NFL, he has more pressure on him. And Teddy Bridgewater is a very capable quarterback. It's not unreasonable to think that he could be playing sometime by midseason.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, Mike T thinks that the Kansas City Chiefs fans should be doing backflips. Well, the guy that does the backflips is in Miami now, and they're going to be the fastest wide receiver duo without question here. But in terms of the pressure, I think you have to look at it from a little bit of a wider range here. This coaching staff has absolutely no connection with Tua, right? Yes, Mike McDaniel took the job and I'm sure sold ownership on I can help Tua, I can make him better. Look what we did in San Francisco. We give training wheels to the quarterback here in this West Coast offense, which is going to look a lot like we saw with Kyle Shanahan with the Niners. So obviously he wants to have Tua have some success here. But Mike T brings up a great point. Teddy Bridgewater making $6 million a year tells you something. They're willing to pay him because I do believe that the Miami Dolphins look at the situation and say, hey, if this can't work with Tua, you know who can run an offense like this? Because we saw it in New Orleans with ease with Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy could step in here and run the offense Mike McDaniel wants. So something that we saw similar with, like, let's say a Jimmy G.
Wow, this is something we would not have been saying 24 hours ago, but now we are with this huge blockbuster deal. Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins. The pressure's on for the Dolphins, for Tua, for the whole franchise. And trust